that's it, and welcome to the Come Together Hub podcast. And today we were just going to do a little discussion around nature and nurture, around addiction and where does it come from? Are we born with it, or are we conditioned into it? We've already been having a little bit of a discussion about this morning. It got a little bit heated, but everyone had an opinion on it, so we thought we'd just roll with the camera and see where it goes. So I'll hand it over to you, Ryan, and we'll just see where this flows, if that's all right.
Yeah, nature. So you said, where does it come from? I have my beliefs. This is where it got pretty heated. Like beliefs and opinions. To be honest with you, I try and steer away from this sort of discussion because I don't see like it's okay having this discussion. We're having it here, and that's fine. But in a larger setting, trying to steer away from it because I don't see that it serves any purpose. You know what I mean? I'm here today, trying to do the best I can with like my recovery. But as regards of like, where do I believe that it come from? Like, well, I don't believe that I was born an addict. You know, I believe that through my upbringing, like, I'm not saying that there was anything wrong with it or anything, just like the set of circumstances that unfolded in front of me. Like, I was just like you know when I said to you, like, just then before the podcast was on, it was like something. It wasn't necessarily drugs. It was like something in me I was attracted to stuff that wasn't probably the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't probably drugs was in that category. Do you know what I mean? When I seen someone doing something that looked like it was up to no good, that was like, that looks interesting. That, do you know what I mean? But then there was a lot of stuff that was like, a lot of it involved crime as well. Do you know what I mean? And part and parcel of like my upbringing and circumstances that was faced in front of me when I was a kid was like a lot of that just come part and parcel, you know, together.
For me, the nurturing part is what is instilled in you, and the nurture part is fear of how not to do something, why you shouldn't do it. So when you look at not the nurture, what's the other? Nature side of it, then the nature comes into play when you're growing up as a child. You're in the street and you're doing what children do. Ultimately what happens is you learn quite a lot of common sense in that environment. And when I say common sense, it's a case of if a friend puts their hand in the fire, you know it burns, so you don't do it. And it's this way of learning within nature. Nurture is people around you confirm putting your hand in the fire hurts, it's dangerous, and you shouldn't do it. I think both of them go hand in hand. And I think, okay, the subject around drugs, whether it be drugs or alcohol, at that age you're not learning these things about addiction. However, I feel that when it comes to nature, nurture, it is about how much attention we may pay as a child growing up onto the teachings of where we are.
So this is like gets really interesting the more I think about this, and everyone does have an opinion on it, don't they? And everyone, you know, is entitled to their own opinion. Exactly. So like my opinion I have on my own addiction is this is first of all, like what you said, it doesn't really serve of any immediate importance. That's what it says in the literature when I read recovery literature, that like it has no immediate importance to know where this comes from. But we think about it, or I think about it. So this is me, right? So I'm not saying it's you, I'm not saying it's you. So don't like jump on me if you don't agree with what I'm saying. Right? So when I was born, right, I was born with this spirit within me, happy kid. Do you know what I mean? And my parents and my grandparents growing up kind of nurtured me in the way of like, stay away from this danger, stay away from that danger, and eventually drugs became that thing what they said stay away from, and stay away from these groups of people. So when I was a kid, we used to have a place where you used to get glueies, people that used to sniff glue, you know what I mean? And that soon changed and it become like smackheads and that kind of stuff. Every community has these people that are identified as bad people. So like my parents would say, stay away from the glueies, stay away, the glueies are over there. And it was like, I'm intrigued by why, you know what I mean? I'm intrigued by that thingy of like, don't go, you know what I mean? It's like, I wanted to like kind of gravitate over just to see what the danger was. But this is what I believe happened to me. So whilst I was happy, I didn't feel I needed anything outside of me to fill me and make me whole. Do you know what I mean? I was just a happy little kid. And when I was young, like 10 years of age, like my mum had committed suicide. Now I didn't know anything about mental illnesses or addiction or anything up until that point. But I remember the point that something changed within me, and I remember it distinctly because I wrote about this stuff. And when we got told my mum had died, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was in my grandma's house, and my grandma and my granddad, my dad and my brother were all like upset. Like obviously they was like really upset, and I wasn't crying. I was a soft kid, like, by the way, you know what I mean? I would like cry for my mum or cry for my dad at a drop of a hat, you know what I mean? I'm getting so less. I didn't, and I believe what happened was I started to shut down emotionally, and from that point, I felt the need to find something outside of myself to make myself whole. I didn't start taking drugs that day, you know what I mean? But I started misbehaving in school, climbing on school roofs, like setting fire to waste paper bins, you know, and as soon as like drugs come along and I found the opportunity and resources to take drugs, I was all in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I found something outside of myself that made me feel whole for a little while until it started to become like really damaging force within my life. But I was in then. I started to dance with the devil and I wasn't choosing when it stopped.
Do you know what? Like, that is just so relevant to what I was like. You know how you was explaining how like you was intrigued by the glueies and where they was going. It was like I remember my mum used to say like, "Don't go with them lot," and they was up to no good. And I wanted to go with them lot because I wanted to finger. But then you talk about like that pivotal point, and we were speaking about it before the camera went on as well. And it was like there was a 3-month period. Like I was experimenting with stuff from like probably 13 and what have you, and it was up to no good and blah de blah. And I don't like I said, I don't really look too much back then. But if I have to think in my mind, was there a pivotal time in my life? There's one that sticks out to me, and it was about 14, 15, and I thought like I'm gonna have to do something. You know what I mean? Like because like doing what I was doing on the streets just was like I was fucking I'm not stupid. I knew where I was going to end up. So I had this idea that I was going to go and sign up to was going to get in the army and stuff. And within a 3-month period, it was 15 years and 6 months. And they said come back when you're 15 and 9 months old. And I was like, right, okay. And in that 3 months, like I got 3 pieces of like really devastating news, and that's what I believe, that I emotionally shut down and stuff. And I was like, I got told I was epileptic, you know what I mean? I felt like I had no place in like the world, in society. Oh, I can't drive, I can't get this, I can't go in the army, that's it, what am I going to do now? Do you know what I mean? And then I found out there was like a massive piece of like abuse within the family, and that really, really affected me. And I, like boom, that was like I just related to that what you just said so much, and it was just like oh, I've got no place, emotion like rush boom, and then that's where I crossed, I believe, that line that people talk about. Do you know what I mean? Where things was like seeing what it was like and experimenting to the point where it was just like this is it now. Do you know what I mean?
So believing that, knowing that, it's like you can retrace your steps, and then it helps in a solution then, doesn't it? But I know like we're gonna like wrap it up now, and just I just want to say this. I'm going to say it into the camera, this, because this is like really important. What you just said then about these people who we was told to stay away from. So if like you're sat in a group of like-minded people trying to get support for addiction problems, or in fellowship meetings, chances are you're sat in a room full of people that your parents, they're the people your parents told you to stay away from. You know what I mean? And effectively, we're the only ones who can help each other with this.
Yeah.
The people that, you know, some of my friends was told to stay away from me. I was told to stay away from some of my friends. Don't knock around with them. These are the people I sit in meetings with night after night who help me. Night after night, not them exact people, but the types of people.
Yeah.
That's the people who I was told to stay away from.
Yeah.
But listen, thanks very much for listening. This topic you could just go on all day with it. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. But thanks for listening. If you can please like, share, and subscribe, that'd be muchly appreciated. Nice one.
Thank you very much.